Hello, guys. Yet another statement, guys. Again, wasn't planning on posting anything more, but Harry is a very intelligent man. He understands how the British media works. It's very possible, even though it was a live interview, not everybody would have caught that interview live. So it's very possible for the BBC to edit things or to edit the interview in a way that it cuts out some things, and Harry wasn't taking any chances. And if you look at the media right now, they are only focusing on the reconciliation comment. They're not actually giving full context and properly explaining what happened. And this is why Harry has very cleverly released a written statement on his and Meghan's official website. Let's go through it. From Harry, I want to start by thanking my legal team and the Court of Appeal judges for their time and expertise in unraveling this issue that stemmed from the previous government. This process has only ever been about ensuring my safety and that of my immediate family when we are in the United Kingdom, so that we may safely visit my home country with the same level of security that other governments deem necessary for our protection. My ask has been simple: that the standard protocols for security and risk assessments be applied to me in the same way they are to others, including people who have never carried out any public functions on behalf of the state. Cough, cough, Kit. Come and fight me in my chat. The court's ruling confirms that the Executive Committee for the Protection of Royalty and Public Figures, known as RAVEC, and comprised of senior officials from the royal household, the King, Home Office and Metropolitan Police, has failed to follow its own mandated processes for me. That's on record, guys. We read it in the excerpt of the judicial ruling this afternoon, which are applied to other high-risk and high-profile individuals. Given my profound concerns over this issue, I will be writing to the Home Secretary to ask her to urgently examine the matter and review the RAVEC process. This legal action has been a last resort, but one that has uncovered shocking truths, starting with the fact that the royal household are key decision makers on RAVEC and my sole representation for matters regarding my safety. In this process, I've also learned names of all involved, many of whom retired immediately after playing their part. In November 2017, before the royal household's role on RAVEC was known, this secretive committee concluded that when my wife would join the royal family, she should not receive protection. What? I didn't even know that. Wow. Only when I asked for the name of the person willing to carry that risk did they reverse the decision. In 2020, RAVEC refused for the first time to conduct the required annual risk, threat, and impact assessment that their own policies demand. The intention of this assessment is to be objective and free from bias and interference to confirm the security required. The result was stripping me of my protection I've had since birth, while signaling to all other governments to do the same. This reckless action knowingly put me, my family, in harm's way. Life is precious and I understand the fragility of it. Through 2021 and 2020, I attempted to resolve this matter privately, even offering to independently cover the costs of necessary and effective police protection in order to keep me and my family safe. No one responded directly to me about my offer when I made it, and even though I challenged the refusal to let me pay, my legal claim failed. To this present day, the royal household remain my sole representation on RAVEC for every visit and could call for assessment to be done at any point. The only possible conclusion that can be drawn is they choose not to, because they know the outcome will prove that my security should never have been removed in the first place. That's right. In recent years, my family and I have been subjected to well-documented neo-Nazi and extremist threats, including the Al-Qaeda. There are individuals in prison on UK soil because of such threats, and yet since 2019 a proper risk assessment has not been conducted. This is not only a deviation from standard practice, it is a dereliction of duty. The stark difference is I was born into lifelong circumstances that create inherent security risks. My decade of military service, particularly 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan, as well as social and tabloid media frenzy, have only intensified those threats. Uncovering how my immediate family's safety was knowingly put at risk, as well as who was behind it and who sanctioned it, has been truly devastating. It was the king. No matter where we may agree or disagree, I would never wish harm on anyone. These legal proceedings have revealed to me that this basic duty of care was not and is not applied to me. It's true that I've been treated as an exception on this issue. Don't forget that this was found in court. The conditions of my security were not made based on threat, risk, and impact. They were made based on my role, one that my wife and I wanted to maintain, but that was ultimately refused. Don't forget, guys, the half in, half out. Ravek's ability to make decisions outside of its own policies and its so-called political sensitivities of my case have prevailed over the need for fair and consistent decision making. The court has decided to defer this, revealing a sad truth. My hands are tied in seeking legal resource against the establishment. This all comes from the same institutions that preyed upon my mother, that openly campaigned for the removal of our security, that continue to incite hatred towards me, my wife, and even our children, while at the same time protecting the very power that they should be holding accountable, the press. The UK is my birthplace, and it will always be part of who I am. It is a place I love and the country my son was born. I've only ever wanted to continue my charity work in support of other causes and people that mean so much to me, and for the children to know the beauty of my homeland. I remain committed to public service. This has been and will always be my life's work. And when you strip away the noise, you'll be able to hear all I've been asking for is safety. First of all, let me appreciate the person I'm reading this from, Juliet. Shout out to you. Guys, that was a beautiful statement. Said a lot in a very quick punch. First of all, I had no idea they were refusing to give Meghan security when they were making racist comments about her and threatening her life, when they were calling her the N-word, when the British press was writing about how she was straight out of Compton, when they were harassing her, trying to get people to lie about her, trying to get her own parents, although they were able to get her father, trying to get her mother to spread lies about her, and they didn't want to give her any security. I told you guys from the beginning that the ultimate issue here has always been Meghan. They never wanted her to marry into this family, so they were trying to make her life as miserable as possible, hoping that she would leave, just like they've done his other. But the funny thing about it is, did they never not think that he was going to get married? That's the interesting thing. They did not want him to be happy. So weird. So shocking. Guys, wow. That statement, I like how short it was, straight to the point. Harry knows the people that denied him his security. To me, I'm reading this statement as, I think if we had to put everything into perspective, the reason why Harry pursued that legal case, he knew he was going to lose. He did it for the discovery. Now the discovery, as he said, he's given to the Home Office. I'm very curious to see if the Home Secretary does something about it. Probably not, but let's see. But she shall not come and complain in the press again. I don't want to ever hear from the press again that Charles is dying to see his grandkids. He is not. That Charles wants to reconcile. He does not. And that Charles cares about Harry. He clearly doesn't. The same for William. Every day the British press is reminding us that William will strip Harry and Meghan of their titles, because that will somehow make Harry no longer the child of the king. I don't understand. I wish instead of listening to the press, Charles was listening to people. And I want the black and brown people who are kicking and cacaing for the press, right? For the royal family, you do realize that the reason they hate Meghan is because part of the reason they hate Meghan is because she's a biracial black woman who should never have married into the family. That's why they were asking Harry how dark his son. They were telling Harry that they were concerned about how dark Archie was going to be. Yet you will be seeing William and Charles looking for black people to come and take pictures with, to remind us that I'm not a racist. In their annual I'm not a racist picture photo op. This is disgraceful, guys. I need the British people to wake up. And if and if the royalists don't want to wake up, sorry, I want people in the Commonwealth to wake up. The future king and the current king have done everything in their power to dehumanize and humiliate that Harry's wife, because she's a biracial black woman. The current king has refused to see his grandkids. He hasn't seen them. According to Harry, the only way he can see his father is if he gets permission, which means that Charles has not reached out to ask about the well-being of his grandchildren. Why? Why is that? Why does Charles continue to refuse to give Harry protection? I'll tell you why. Because Charles hates Meghan. Because he hates Meghan, he can't love those kids. These are his grandchildren, who look white, by the way. But now, the so-called head of the Commonwealth has treated the first biracial black woman to marry into his family below contempt. And yet, they will still find black people to come and take pictures with them for Commonwealth Day. They will still find brown people to come and take pictures with them for Commonwealth Day. You people are still kicking for the royal family when they have literally shown you with their actions that they despise you. Black and brown people, what's happening? Africans, Jamaicans. How much more proof do you need? The Commonwealth needs to end. It's beyond parody at this point. They can come and they can use us for photo ops. They can exploit us and remind us of our place on the food chain. But they don't want us in their family. That tells you everything you need to know. The royal family is racist. And it's time we held them responsible. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.